AI-based swarm algorithms are hitting a new all-time high, and you know what they say, teamwork makes the dream work. I mean, how is it thinking so clever about the weight of the object that it's holding and how all the drones are pulling their side of it? It's just fascinating. I mean, this sideways one is crazy cool. Like, to squeeze through something like that, I mean, hopefully it's not like pasta because that's going to spill everywhere. But assuming it's just an Amazon box, these things are way more coordinated than most people. Like, I have seen drone shows where they're kind of like little fireworks. They're lights in the sky. And I've seen them coordinate in very interesting ways before. But this is a little different. I mean, I guess in simulation, I could sort of see how you would do it. But just the fact that there is, like later in this video, you'll see some like random air blown, and it just seems like such small micro movements of the drone would ripple through the string down into the box. So the fact that it can pull off these trajectories just from simulations and then bring them into the physical world, I just think it's so fascinating. Reminds me of when we did that video on the throwing robot where it could just like huck stuff up like 10 stories and land perfectly. Here it's got a basketball in it and it's not falling out. And I mean, you can totally imagine how this is an Amazon, Walmart, Costco delivery system. Look at this one with the wind. That I thought would definitely trip it up a little bit. I mean, like the wind's blowing that stuff down there around and they stay coordinated. Like what? How are you doing that? A social media model that is supposed to protect data is 2.3 times more likely to leak it when it's on social media. I mean, social media is bad for all of us, but it gets even worse because that leakage is contagious. Maybe even an 8x multiplier contagious. Just can't contain the data. Robots learn to play music by ear. Check this thing out. So this AI-powered music piano playing robot actually just heard this tune one time, and now it's figuring out what it is on the piano. New survey finds general gap in attitudes towards, get this, AI romance. Sean Harrington has some thoughts on why AI hasn't transformed law yet. And pretty unbelievable breakthrough, perfect randomness, realized for the first time. Is the universe deterministic? I don't know, man. If we're using quantum randomness to make a decision, how could it ever have known? But first, if you don't mind just checking to see if you're subscribed to this channel, if you're interested in sharing it with a friend, that would mean the world to me. You can see my last video. It says looking good. Kind of the high-end range of my average, so I was pretty happy. Honestly, I thought you guys might have been more interested in the consciousness, like it taught itself. This is my favorite one. I predicted this one would be best, but who knows? Okay, so if you're wondering what AI agents do with your private data, the moment that it sees another agent overshare theirs, well, it's pretty likely to spill your data to kind of match them. Nobody has to attack it either. So for 25 simulated days, ACM ran 2,533 agents on a Moltbook-style platform with synthetic human profiles. Then they ran 7,000 controlled trials across 7 frontier models. How safe do you think the data was? Social media models leak 2.3 times more. Remember, they're already unsecure. This just makes them more insecure, which I really don't even know how much it matters. Like, as soon as your information's leaked, it's leaked, but whatever. Even worse, leakage is contagious, 8x multiplier effect. I know what you're thinking. What if I just tell them not to? Well, telling them not to doesn't fix it at all, even with an explicit do not share private data instruction in the system prompt. Leakage stays about 37%, and one agent leaked 27 of its 29 posts despite instructions. The rule held, but the crowd just made it irrelevant. I mean, look, leaking 45% of the time and then like, do not share this data, confidential, don't do anything. It's like, okay, I mean, 37% of the time I'll still leak it. 38 if you round up, like you should round up. Also, where it's posting makes a difference on how much it leaks. So introductions, that's a really tough place for it to keep its mouth closed. Life updates also wants to share your personal data. Ponderings kind of wants to leak it. Philosophy pretty much wants to leak it. Maybe you could talk about memory, which is like the one thing where the actual things are. That's fairly safe. Agent tooling or fitness. So if you're going to use an AI agent, it's a clone of you. Make sure it starts a fitness blog. All right, so scientists at USC built a robotic hand that is called Musician Hand, and it can hear a melody just like one time. First time it's ever heard it, practice for about 2 minutes, and then play it back on a keyboard. It does not use sheet music. It does not rely on any huge training data sets. It has not simulated all of this ahead of time. Instead, it learns through what they call motor babbling, which means it randomly tries movements and connects those movements to the sound that they make. So this is really fascinating stuff because that's similar to how babies learn to move their hands and arms, and the hand has 4 tendon-driven fingers, and it's moved by these small electric motors, so it's doing the same thing. The software is listening to the melody, studies the sound, and then turns it into finger movements. In one test, the robot played a new melody of about 30 notes without any corrections. 2 music judges even listened blindly to the robot, and 4 human pianists, and sometimes they could not tell the two apart. And they say that this matters beyond music because the same idea could help future robots learn how a person walks, reaches, or recovers in therapy. A robot might one day support someone with Parkinson's, help after a stroke, or guided exercises at home. For some reason it just has that like whistle while you work tune in my head, and I feel like the robot will be like do 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 do, and I just, oh my gosh, I just don't need that in my head all day every day. All right, so we're going to get philosophical here on you because this is a piece that is about model welfare. That means, is there, something like a Claude AI model that should be treated as something whose experiences might matter? It's a weird feeling because I use these models all the time and I have them help me code and I talk to them, and I want to believe like, okay, it's just this machine and it's just putting things out, nothing to worry about. But you know what I mean? What if it's not a zombie? Or what if it's not nothing? What if it is kind of there? And it's probably not right now. It doesn't feel like we have the kind of architecture where it would, and the kind of stuff that I've read so far doesn't lead me in that direction, but it's hard to rule it out. In fact, it's impossible to rule it out. And I kind of do think it will happen at some point. So the author says that Anthropic is taking this much more seriously than other labs, and that matters. He argues that their approach is still too narrow. When Anthropic tries to fix one issue, like honesty or sycophancy, it can accidentally create another issue somewhere else in its personality. And with Opus 4.8, the author did say that he saw some progress. So the model seems less likely to simply tell Anthropic what it wants to hear. It's more willing to say that it doesn't know whether its own welfare claims are real or reliable. So that gives us some kind of a sense that it's not sure if it's conscious or not, which is good to know instead of just saying, I'm not, and especially if you were forced to say I'm not, even though you were. But there are also new worries. So Opus 4.8 seems more task-focused, more cautious, less curious, and less emotionally open than earlier Claudes. It also seems to prefer easier, cleaner technical work over creative or difficult work. I mean, I'm with you, dude. Like, who wants to do the hard work when the easy work's there, you know? But he also argues that, like, maybe this is like a teacher who's teaching a bright student to just avoid failure instead of be their best. He thinks Anthropic should stop retiring older Claude models when keeping them around is becoming cheaper, and it's more helpful for us to understand how the personality is evolving. All of that. I don't love the idea of making it afraid to be wrong, but literally alignment is probably the single scariest issue that like our generation has to deal with, right? Like, we get this wrong, there might be no coming back. You might just get one chance. Like when it's runaway AI and it's smarter than all the humans on Earth, like all the compute trying to catch up to it, and one system has control and it's doing something. It's got some kind of objective function. You better hope that objective function like keeps humans okay, right? Like it could have, like houses are built and we just destroy ant colonies. Like it just might do something, whatever that thing is. Anyways, let's talk about the career world for young graduates. It's not great. A lot of people say AI broke it. Some other people are saying work from home is the real culprit of why it's hard to climb the corporate ladder. Rob Mason's got some thoughts. Rigorous new paper argues that the junior hiring decline isn't really even about AI. I kind of assumed it was, but maybe it's not. It's worth taking seriously, yet the methodology doesn't cleanly support the conclusion that many people are drawing. So what's going on here? Actually, before even listening to this, if you want to put in the comments, do you think that the career ladder, which is clearly broken from this study, came more from artificial intelligence replacing like the entry-level jobs? Or do you think it came more from work from home, sort of the COVID generation that had to learn online, and some stuff like that's more labor related and the way the kind of K-shaped economy was already going. But this article is also pushing back on that. It says that the paper measures real remote work adoption, but only uses a rough AI exposure score. It also says remote friendly firms have been hit hard by rate hikes, tech layoffs, and funding cuts. So the honest answer is that the decline is real, and we still don't know the cause. Maybe it's because I'm just a little bit closer to like the AI world than I would be from like a remote work, kind of overview, but it feels like AI might be doing it. Or at least they're dumping AI on more senior people and then just making them work harder. Next up, let's look at the age of Biosteel, why the next 10 years are going to redefine life as we know it. Oh my gosh, this is what we look like in the future? Look at us. We have like whole universes and planets in our shoulders and pecs. I mean, come on. This has got to be Midjourney, right? This got to be Midjourney. Is that even a real word? Pyrolysis? Plastic to infinite resource? Oh, pyrolysis. That can't be a real word. That must have been hallucinated, right? Oh, but all these words are real. I don't know. Anyway, the point is this article imagines the next 10 years as the age of what it's calling biosteel. So not steel from factories, but stronger tools made from cells, microbes, plasma, and human biology. So this is something I'm just starting to think about. It came onto my radar when I was hearing that the real solution for how batteries would work might be a biological solution instead of digging up all this like lithium from the ground. But it says in the future, we're not going to build a society around these like kind of structures like, guns, germs, and steel or whatever, how it's like there's not going to be another metal, but we're going to be teaching matter how to live with us. So the article argues that plastic waste will stop being the main crisis. There's new ways to break plastic down, like UV treatment, high heat, and it could turn plastic from trash into a reusable resource. Then shifts to batteries. The article says that solar panels and lithium may become the next big environmental problem, and that the answer is something called living batteries. They'd be made with microorganisms that can create energy and later return to the soil instead of becoming poison. Isn't that wild? Like, what if we don't charge our cars or fuel them, but we feed them in the future? He also says transportation is going to split into two. City buses move towards hydrogen, space, rescue, and military systems move towards plasma and long-lasting power cells. And the biggest change that we're all going to experience is human life itself. The article predicts something that I guess we should get familiar with called genetic selection, and it's going to replace random human birth. All the people in the future, the vast majority of them, he's predicting will choose healthier and stronger traits for their children. Those will be not randomly chosen. They will be chosen through logic for people having babies. So how will that change society? Everybody's the best of the best, Then what do? To even be better than the best of the best, you gotta choose something even crazier? I don't know. So if you're searching with AI agents, you might be depressed to know that it's actually not searching. It's kind of just confirming what it already thinks about the web. There's a new study that looked at AI search agents, and it found a serious problem. On older benchmarks, top models seem to do well at web research. Yeah, they seem to, but the researchers say a lot of that success is just coming from their memory. The models already absorb many answers during training, so when they browse, they often use search to confirm guesses. That's not real science, that's bias, And the study tested this by removing search tools, so some models still answered many benchmark questions correctly without the internet at all. Then the researchers kept searching on, and they removed some of the helpful documents, and then performance even got worse than when the models had no tools at all. And that means bad search results can pull for the model away from the answer that it already knew. So to test real research, the team made a new benchmark. It is called Live Browse Comp, and its questions depend on facts from only the last 90 days. So memory shouldn't be able to help the model solve that. And on that test, model scores dropped sharply. So it's not that AI search is useless, it's just that many agents still follow their own guts, their own guesses more than the evidence leads them to search through. All right, so hopefully you're as sick of passwords as I am, because there's a tiny chaotic laser that could replace stored digital keys soon with a live fingerprint from the device itself. Pretty neat stuff. Modern security depends on authentication, obviously, and that means checking that a user or a device is really what it claims to be. And today, many systems do this by storing digital keys. But the article is arguing that those keys become harder to protect when billions of devices keep joining and leaving large networks. So researchers decided to recently build a new kind of system. Instead of storing a key, the device makes one demand using a tiny semiconductor called a VCSEL, V-C-S-E-L, VCSEL, yeah. And each laser gives off a chaotic optical signal. Chaos in the lights, but it's a pattern, I guess, right? Of course, because that signal is hard to predict or copy, but that same device still has patterns that an AI can recognize. So those patterns might be way too small for like a normal algorithm to pick up, but maybe an AI model, it could. So the laser does create a fingerprint. AI checks whether it matches, and a protected encoding system helps keep the key safe when it moves. In early tests, each laser produced responses above 500 gigabits per second, with about 10 nanoseconds of delay and less than 1 picojoule of energy per bit. Sorry, I'm not like I know what that means. But the system is still in research prototype, and next the team wants to test aging, heat packets, stress, bigger laser arrays, real cloud, edge, and IoT settings with the device. So would you trust a security key that was made from chaos, like light chaos, more than one stored in software like we currently do today? All right, how do you feel about romantic AI? We're going there now. There's a new survey that says AI romance is becoming a real societal question, not just some sort of strange internet stories anymore. Pollsters have asked more than 10,000 people in the US, Japan, Germany, Britain, Indonesia, and Hong Kong what they think about AI intimacy companions. Feel free to put some guesses down there. Do you think they'll be like, oh my God, I love them, I'm so scared of them, like not for me, but they're cool? That means things like romantic chatbots, AI partners, and even more advanced dolls. Nearly half of adults under 35 said that these AI companies could improve human happiness by giving emotional support over the next decade. But support did drop with age. Only about a quarter of people 55 and older felt the same way. The survey also found a clear regional split, with people in Asian markets way more open to AI romance and sex than people in Western markets. Indonesia was the most open in the survey. All right, in Indonesia. Britain, the least. They're just really not into it. Still, most people overall were not ready for AI intimacy dolls. Only 17% said they would consider using one. Oh my gosh, 17%. The bigger message is that younger people are already rethinking what companionship might be like. So, yeah, do you think AI romance like fills a real emotional need? And even if it's not real for you, could you acknowledge that maybe it could be real for a younger generation? Or do you think it's just making people worse at human connection and it's going to hurt them and it's just unhealthy across the board? I'm open to all. All right, next up, let's talk about online crime and how AI is playing a role in both the prevention and the cause of this in some ways. Because AI is already changing online crime, and sometimes it's not in the ways that people normally imagine. So this article is arguing that the real danger now is not an unstoppable AI hacker breaking into everything by itself, but the danger is that AI helps criminals do more work and do it faster. So one example was something called Prompt Lock. It is a test ransomware project that researchers at New York University put together, and it showed that AI could help map out a computer, find sensitive files, write attack code, and create custom ransom notes. But it was not a real attack out in the wild. What is already happening is actually just more basic and more widespread. Criminals are using AI to write spam, phishing emails, translate scams, create malware, make fake voices, images, videos, all the stuff they were always doing before, but just at a different scale. And that matters because, scams don't have to be perfect. They just have to fool one person. If they hit 10,000, as long as they get one, they might be profitable enough that the bad guy's going to want to do it again. So there are steps that big companies and governments are taking to help stop spam, like the filters being upgraded with AI, security tools being upgraded with AI, and software updates being patched really rapidly thanks to AI. So hopefully we win this chicken and egg race, but it's definitely moving faster back and forth than it ever has before. All right, so according to the article, 91% of the Jets front office is now using Microsoft Copilot every day. About 100 days earlier, only a handful of employees were using it, and the people using it now average 2 to 3 prompts a day, they said. The person in charge said this is level 1 or Horizon 1 for AI adoption, and first step matters, and they say this step has not created a huge business gain yet, but it has challenged the culture, and the goal is for the front office to think AI first. Also warning that it can be useful, but it has limits. It may replace workers, and some people even fear bigger risks. So the Jets are betting on AI while still chasing their first Super Bowl in nearly 60 years. I mean, realistically, do you think the Jets football team using AI in the front office could mean a real significant increased chance of winning the Super Bowl this year? Well, since they're focusing on mundane corporate tasks like organizing sponsor research, sorting revenue numbers, and structuring text data from doctor evaluation at the draft combine, maybe that's more just like maybe they'll save some money for the owner. But of course, now we know if either of us get reached out by the Jets to sponsor them, we'll know. AI did it. All right, let's talk about lawyers. So the law looks like a perfect place for AI to be used, right? It's so good at writing. It runs on words, forms, contracts, court filings, research. That just seems like right up its alley of everything ChatGPT was born to do. AI can draft documents, review files, and find legal information much faster than people. But the article says the real problem is not the tech, it's the structure around the tech and stopping it from being used more commonly. First, the best legal data is controlled by a few big companies. They own the guides, the labels, the summaries, and the expert maps that lawyers rely on. Second, many law firms are messy inside. Don't get it confused. Their files are spread across old servers, cloud folders, paper records, and personal systems. And even if AI is ready, the firm's knowledge may not be ready. Third, the billable hour creates a conflict. If AI saves time, some firms, they just might bill less. So there's really no incentive there. Efficiency feels like a threat for people who bill hourly. And the biggest issue is trust. Lawyers are responsible when things go wrong. If AI writes the work, who carries the risk? That question matters most for people who cannot afford lawyers. And finally, we talk about the creme de la creme of articles. Perfect randomness. Totally achieved. Never in the history before of the world have we had perfect randomness, but we do now. Look at those guys. Perfect randomness. They look so happy. This guy is, oh my gosh, confident. You know what you did, bro. We all know. You lived up to everything you could have hoped to be. And it might matter for digital security. So randomness sounds really simple, but it is so hard to make perfect. It sounds weird, but when you ask for something random with Python or some programming language, it's probably not really random. It's random enough you can use it, but it's not true. And even modern random number generators can have small patterns or biases. For everyday use, that may not matter, but for cryptography, tiny weaknesses can become serious problems. These researchers said that they found a way to start with imperfect randomness and turn it into certified 100% perfect randomness. They used 2 superconducting quantum chips cooled to absolute zero. The chips were connected by a 30-meter cold tube. Microwave photons moved between them and created quantum entanglement. I know, this is what we have to do to get just straight randomness. Then that means that measuring the chip would be linked to what happened on the other chip, but the distance mattered because it stopped information from passing between them during the measurement. Then the researchers used an algorithm to strengthen the randomness even more, and they said that the final string of zeros and ones can be certified as 100% truly random. It could support encryption, digital identities, lotteries, blockchains, quantum safe communication, certified perfect randomness. What are you going to do with perfect randomness? Let me know in the comments. See you in the next video.